Hello, hello, everyone, and happy Friday. And I'm so excited to hop in here on this Friday afternoon because I've been really eager to share part one of my series called How to Best Study for Final Exams for Your Teenagers. This even applies to some eighth graders, especially if they're taking high school classes. So I'm really excited to hop in here. I have this main idea that your kids are really going to like because it's simple and easy. And it actually has very little to do with academics for how they can maximize getting an A and doing the best they can on final exams. So imagine your son or daughter comes home from school and you ask them how classes went and you ask them how school was. And for better or for worse, they actually have some interesting conversation about different classes and about their teachers, as opposed to that neutral, well, I don't know, things are good. And isn't the most sinking feeling when in the back of your mind, you have the thought that your son or daughter really doesn't have a relationship, a professional relationship with their teacher. So it's occurred to me just over these past few weeks how many students I have right now who feel like they really don't know their teachers. And even worse, they feel like their teachers are out to get them. And therefore, that blocks them from asking questions in class, from going in to see their teachers for help, and from really having a great enjoyment of and with the learning material. So, what I wanted to do today was to give you some tips that you can so easily share with your teens on how they can actually help improve this relationship. Because in the long run, at the very end of the day, at the very end of this semester, that teacher actually has the ability to boost that grade. So, for example, if let's say an A was a 90%, if the student has whatever, the lowest B plus is, and the teacher thinks, Sally or John, they really gave it their all. They really tried to push themselves in the class. They really tried to get a positive energy going. That teacher has the ability, if they want, to boost that B plus up to an A minus. So kids love this stuff. This has along the lines to do with positive coaching. And what I'd like to talk about today is how to help your kids feel inspired, to feel motivated, to build rapport with their teachers, because it not only makes for a more comfortable, positive learning experience, but I think it can actually help them do better on final exams and ultimately get a better grade. So I wanted to give you 4 tips I have, and I've written these all down. I've thought about these, and after I talk today, I'm going to repost these in the chats here. And I realize this is really cool. So right now I'm going live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and my YouTube. So it's really neat because some parents have been reaching out to me and I don't even know them. And I always say, well, where did you find me? And it's usually through a mutual friend, but it seems like a lot of the parents that have been coming through LinkedIn. So if you're watching me on LinkedIn, hello, please leave a comment. Please say hello. Please feel free to pose a question that I can always revisit and answer later. So that's kind of neat, I think. So today we're talking about how you can help your child, your son or daughter, or if you have a number of kids, really do better with year-end grades. And this today is falling under the umbrella of how to help them feel more comfortable in class, but according to their mind, according to where they are with their relationship with the teacher, to give you some tips on how to help your son or daughter build rapport with their teacher. So and this has really come from my students lately, really come from a lot of students who say they feel like their teachers don't even know who they are, or worse, their teachers really don't like them. So if that negative rapport is there, that ultimately, I think, is going to decrease a child's learning effectiveness, decrease their potential to get that A in class. So, okay, so this is what I've been telling my kids, like literally coaching my own tutoring students on how to do this, especially if they really don't like their teacher or they feel their teacher doesn't like them. So the first one is, how can you help train them with the gift of gab, with chit chat, right? So hey, Mrs. Smith, how was your weekend? Or, you walk in on a Monday, like, how's your kindergartner doing? Is she feeling better? Or, you know, I heard your dog went to the vet. Is everything okay? Or how'd you do in that, your bowling league? Whatever it is, to show the teacher that the student recognizes the teacher is a person outside of the classroom. So I actually have a quick story. A student I do have who is known to be great with getting along with teachers, young, old, known to be mean, known to be really funny. I said to this student, I said, what do you do? Like, what's your secret sauce? How is it that you always, no matter the teacher's personality, have strong rapport with this teacher? And the student said, well, you know what, Mrs. Haskell, I actually, in my mind, when I'm talking with the teachers in that fun way, like before class or I see them in the hall, I actually don't even think of them as teacher, as scariness, as the wizard who is going to give me the grade. So I thought that was really interesting as far as how can you help encourage your son or daughter to create. So the number one tip here is just positive chit chat, little light conversation to help build this rapport. And if your son or daughter is giving you pushback, well, Mr. Smith just doesn't like me, or he doesn't talk to anyone, Mom. He just doesn't care. Say, well, why don't you try to help him and make him care? Because you're a really special and funny person. You're a great team yourself. And why don't you ask how his weekend went? Why don't you ask, when is the extra credit due? Just build up that chit chat. Show the teacher that you recognize that they're a person outside of, in that classroom. So that's number one. Number two, I think this goes such a long way to encourage your son or daughter to go and see their teacher before school, after school, during their free period, at their lunch. Even if this is a 3 to 4 to 5 minute little bit of tutoring, like getting some extra help on an essay or a social studies test, or going over balancing chemical equations, whatever the content, whatever the subject, that time out of the classroom or out of the class, right, depending on where the teacher lives. I know that in my former school we had departments. So there was like the math department, I sat in the English department, and we always had an extra chair by our desks because we loved, at least most of us loved it, when students would come and talk to us. So number two is to advise your son or daughter to make it a point to go see their teacher outside of the formal class time. So if you're hopping on, if you're watching this in the replay, please say hello. Please feel free to post a comment or ask a question. We've gone over 2 tips already on how to help your child foster a positive rapport with teachers, even if they don't like the teacher, so that they can ultimately do the best they can this semester, even before final exams. Okay, number 3, what about a holiday gift? What about something simple? What is your favorite kind of pen or pencil or marker or book? Or I know a lot of teachers say, like, no more, what is this? No more mugs, right? Or Starbucks gift cards. Well, being a coffee lover myself, or tea person, I love mugs and Starbucks gift cards. But what about a holiday gift? What about even an extra little card, right? Like cuteness, writing your teacher a card at the end of the semester, something extra, something to show your appreciation. I think that's the 3rd tip. That goes a long way. And here's the 4th one. And I have a funny story with that. The 4th tip is to provide a genuine compliment. Right? So I know if your son or daughter can't even stand the teacher and there isn't good rapport, this can be difficult. I think this is a nice how to live a happy life anyway, to give 3 genuine compliments a day, especially to someone who you don't, get along with that easily. But I will tell you what, having taught for many years and having taught through, with four children, and to make it to school on time, and to have some of those kids say, you know what, Miss Haskell, I really like your earrings, or those are cool clogs, or like, you were a really neat pen today. I'll tell you what, a compliment just adds a certain sparkle. It's like throwing glitter into, the atmosphere. So if it's there, if can you help coach your kids on how to give the teacher a compliment? And if it's too difficult and it's just not there to give the teacher a compliment on the teacher, something they have or they're wearing, why not give a compliment on the classroom and the course material? Why not give a compliment on, like, you know what? Gosh, The Catcher in the Rye is really interesting. I never thought that someone could be that responsible for their own depression. I always thought it was, due to external sources, or, you know what? I finally understand the geometry. I'm glad we had that homework last night. It was difficult, but how can your son or daughter give a compliment about the course content? So let's go over the 4 tips to ultimately help your son or daughter do better in a classroom towards the end of this semester before they even reach final exams. This all falls under the umbrella of gaining rapport with the instructor, with the teacher, even if your son or daughter does not like that person. Okay, so number 1, to nurture small talk, to nurture chit chat before class, after class, in the halls with that teacher. View that teacher as a person, not as this mean wizard who is going to give a bad grade. Number 2, make it a point to go see the teacher in their office or in their classroom before school, after school, at lunch, or during a free period. Make it a point to see them outside of the actual math class or biology class. Number 3, can you give a little wonderful, unique holiday gift? Anything from a written note to a lovely mug, perhaps a plant, goes a long way. I think a written note is probably one of the sweetest things ever. And number 4, is there room for a genuine compliment? A genuine compliment to the teacher could be something fun about the teacher, or it could be about the course content, about really enjoying something that you're learning. Those 4 tips are excellent habits for your son or daughter to help build rapport. And the more they try them, the more they pass through that discomfort, the more readily they'll actually do them. And as we know, just like weightlifting, we don't see the effects right away. So these positive habits built up over time will yield really big, wonderful results. And you also never know, if a great relationship forms, then your son or daughter could ask that teacher for a lovely teacher recommendation for their college applications. So thank you so much. I'm glad I could hop in here today. And here's my mug for the day. This is a cute little, it's an oldie but a goodie, right? And please feel free to say hello, post a comment in the comments here, ask a question, and I will get back to you. And if you are interested in your son or daughter polishing up their writing skills or learning more about how in the world to write college application essays, even if you have a senior now and they still need help, please message me here on one of these, the Facebook Messenger, LinkedIn Messenger, or you can always find me at my website at amy@totalwritingenrichment.com. That's my email. amy@totalwritingenrichment.com. So again, we've gone over 4 specific ways that are so easy for your teen, your son or daughter, to build rapport with the teacher. So ultimately, they do better in that class and the learning becomes so much more comfortable and so much more fun. So thank you for joining me. Have a great weekend. And I will continue with part 2 of final exam series towards the end of next week. Until then, stay safe. Bye.